can't go on with the scene. I'm too happy. Mr. DeMille, do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you. I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio making a picture again. You don't know how much I've missed all of you. And I promise I'll never desert you again, because after Salome we'll make another picture and another picture. You see, this is my life. It always will be, nothing else. Just us, and the cameras, and those wonderful people out there in the dark. Alright, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. For those I didn't scare away, hi, I'm Bobby and welcome to Dusty Old Movies. My grandma gave me Sunset Boulevard for Christmas a few years ago, and it quickly became one of my favorites. And as more and more people, especially young people, have been asking me for old movie recommendations, I find myself recommending this more and more. Because in many ways, it has a modern sensibility to it, combined with some of the best things that old Hollywood has to offer, as you will find out as we take a ride together along Sunset Boulevard. Honk honk. Backseat driver. The thing that jumps out when watching Sunset Boulevard is how intelligent and witty the writing is. And the reason is because it was written by famed writing partners Billy Wilder and Charles Broncourt. Life magazine called them the happiest marriage in Hollywood. Billy Wilder was an outgoing and cynical crime reporter turned writer from Berlin who left when the Nazis came to power. And Charles Broncourt was a quiet and sophisticated critic for The New Yorker. And just like any regular Hollywood marriage, they would argue constantly. Billy used to pace incessantly, and Charles would write laying on his back. But together they made fabulous movies. They first became writing partners on Ernest Lubitsch's picture Bluebeard's Eighth Wife. Then, with the major and the minor, Billy began directing. And so that he'd make the same amount of money, Charles began producing. As their filmmaking expertise grew, so did their arguments! And their talent, creativity, and tempers reached their zenith with their final and most innovative collaboration, Sunset Boulevard. Joe Gillis is a down-on-his-luck Hollywood writer who's about to lose his car. With the collection agency on his tail, he pulls into the garage of an old Hollywood mansion, which turns out to be the home of the reclusive and mentally unstable former silent film star Norma Desmond and her devoted but creepy butler Max. The delusional actress plans on making a comeback and asks Joe to help her with her movie script. Smelling money, Joe accepts. Norma falls in love with Joe, and she becomes his cougar sugar mama. I bet you didn't think that I know what that is. However, Joe begins to fall in love with his new writing partner, Betty Schaefer, who happens to be his best friend's fiancée. This love affair proves to be the final straw for Norma's sanity and for Joe's life. Movies with dark stories are very much in vogue right now, but I have never seen anything quite as dark as Sunset Boulevard. First of all, it's visually dark. The movie opens by showing all these dead leaves on the street, and then soon shows us the dead body of our protagonist laying face down in a swimming pool. And it sets the perfect tone of death, decay, and my personal favorite, hopelessness. The shadowy black and white photography and the set design of Norma's mansion also give it a dark and spooky look. And the characters and story perfectly match the visuals. Everyone in this movie is out to get what they want regardless of who or what they hurt in the process. Take the scene where Norma is buying Joe new clothes. Here's the camel's hair, but I'd like you just to feel this. It's vicuna. Of course, it's a little more expensive. The camel's hair will do. Well, as long as the lady's paying for it, why not take the vicuna? Norma is dressing up Joe the way she wants, so that's taking away his independence. Joe is taking Norma's money to have a good life financially, and the salesman is taking advantage of the whole thing by getting a better sale with the vicuna. It's an entertaining scene, but it also shows the very real dark side of human nature, our instinct for selfishness. And this theme goes deeper and darker as the movie progresses, And even the seemingly innocent characters like Betty Schaefer and Artie Green are guilty of it, which I really like because it shows that this dark side is part of all human nature. And it's part of what makes Sunset Boulevard so compelling. Along with the darkness making Sunset Boulevard so compelling, so do the fascinating characters. All three of the main characters are flawed, sympathetic, and in their own way, hilarious. The main character and narrator is Joe Gillis, is played by Bill Holden. Joe seems like a nice guy who's trying to earn a living, but he can be selfish and cynical and sarcastic. And he just seems like a real person. And that makes him incredibly relatable, I think especially for today's audiences. Because he says and thinks exactly what we're thinking, and usually in a funny way. And as for the rather unsavory things that he does, I think they are things that if we were in the same situation, we'd be very tempted to do ourselves. Because we are so with him, we're also able to be involved with all the crazy characters that he meets, like Norma Desmond, as played by the real-life silent movie star, Gloria Swanson. Hey, I know you. You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures. Used to be big. I am big. It's the pictures that got small. I knew something was wrong. I love this character. She's arrogant, manipulative, and deranged. And Gloria plays her with big facial expressions and dramatic gestures, the way a silent movie actress would act. And Gloria, being a silent movie actress, really knew how to do this. And she's just wacky enough so that she's fun to watch, but never too much that you lose sight of her humanity. And you really do take pity on her, because you just know this comeback of hers is never going to happen. We'll be working together again, won't we, Chief? We'll make our greatest picture. I just want to work again. You don't know how much it means to know that you want me. And remember, darling, I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the afternoon. The third key player in Sunset Boulevard is the butler, Max, played by the famed silent movie director, Erich von Stroheim. He is so eerie as this devoted and twisted servant of Norma's, and as we find out, he is much more than meets the eye. I especially love von Stroheim's wonderful and ambiguous facial expressions, because you're never quite sure what he's thinking. She was the greatest star of them all. You wouldn't know, you're too young. There was a Maharaj who came all the way from India to get one of her silk stockings. Later, he strangled himself with it. On an interesting side note, Erich von Stroheim suggested to Billy Wilder that in the scene where Joe and Norma are watching one of Norma's old silent movies, that they show a clip from the Gloria Swanson film Queen Kelly, which Erich von Stroheim directed, and is basically the movie that ruined his directing career. Along with the great characters and actors making Sunset Boulevard so special, so do the great touches of authenticity. Although Sunset Boulevard is fictional, there are lots of great touches of reality in it. For one thing, they show a lot of the real Paramount studios in the film. And they have a lot of real-life Hollywood personalities playing themselves. Norma's friends are all made up of real silent movie actors, most famously the comedian Buster Keaton. The famous Hollywood newspaper columnist Hedda Hopper plays herself in the scene, and in an incredibly touching scene, so does the legendary director Cecil B. DeMille. And Gloria and Cecil B. DeMille even greet each other the way they used to in real life. Why, hello, young fella. Hello, Mr. DeMille. It grounds the movie in reality and gives it a real Hollywood of 1950 atmosphere. Plus, it's just really cool to see these Hollywood icons just kind of doing their thing. And it's part of why I love this movie so much. Sunset Boulevard is dark and cynical like many modern movies, but it also has great importance on its writing and features some Hollywood icons that just aren't around anymore. And I give this movie 4 camel hair coats out of 4. Wait a minute, strike that. Make that 4 vicuna coats out of 4, as long as the lady's paying. Thank you for watching Dusty Old Movies, and have the greatest day of them all.